In this video, I'm going to talk briefly about how to recode a variable and walk you through it step by step. So here you can see the Adult California Health Interview Survey, and these are all the variables in the survey, so you know there's quite a few of them. We're going to scroll down to the variable we're interested in recoding, which for this assignment is forgo. So before you recode a variable, you always want to look at the values and make sure that you know what those values are that you're going to be working with. So let's bring that up. You click on those dots and the value labels. And the first thing you see is lots of negative numbers. So these are all values that don't really have a meaning. They just wanted to code different situations about why someone might not answer this variable. And the problem with keeping these numbers here, if you were going to try and use this variable in an analysis, is that SPSS would actually look at these as real categories and think that it might include those numbers. And we don't want that to happen. Also, as it's coded now, 1 equals yes and 2 equals no. And that is a problem because in any kind of linear regression, or if you're using a t-test or anything like that with this variable, what you really want is to use it as a dummy variable. So especially with linear regression, it's very important that you have a 0 for the category that you aren't really interested in, which here would be no, and a 1 for the category that you are interested in, which would be yes, they did forego care. So now that we know that, we're just going to click on OK, and we're going to go up here to the top, and in SPSS, we need to click on transform. When you click on transform, you can recode into different variables. Now you always want to recode into different variables because if you don't do that, then what you're going to end up with is you're going to have a situation where you overwrite the original variable and you don't know if you're going to need it again. So you want to make sure to recode the original variables. Now you can see I've been working with this a little bit because this is what comes up, but for you, the first time you go into this screen, it'll probably come up looking like this with these variable labels. I find that very hard to work with, so I always right-click and put display variable names instead. So you take the variable that you want to recode and you put it there, and that makes it, it's called the numeric variable, but it means basically old variable. This is the one that you are going to be changing. And we're going to come up with a new name for the new variable, forgo_r for me, which is for recode. And I'm going to make a note to myself in the variable label that this is recoded. And then you click change. And you can see here, you're going to be creating the new variable. But we need to classify the old and new values. So you can see I've already been working with this. I'm just going to remove that for now. The screen will come up like this. It comes up completely blank. So the old value, we know that 1 was for yes, and we want to keep it that way. So we're going to do that. Now it's important that you put in even things that are staying the same so that the system knows to bring that information and that data over. The other value we cared about was in the old variable, it was 2 equals no, and we want it to be 0. So we're going to add that, and then press continue, and then you can press OK. And you can see here that it comes up with, and this is from when I was working on this before, but it comes up with this recode here. And now, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see there's a new variable right there. Now, as you can see on my output file, I do like, and I think I always recommend that you want to check what you're doing against what you wanted to do. So if you go to Analyze and to Descriptive Statistics and Crosstabs, it's a good idea to check the old forgo against the new forgo, and just click OK and run that, and then it'll tell you what you've got here. So you see, had to forgo necessary carrier. This is the old one where yes equals 1 and no equals 2. And now for go recoded, we've got a 0 and a 1 here. Now, this is correct, but it's not as correct as it could be because I don't have any way of knowing right now what this 0 and 1 means. I go, oh, aha, I should have actually put that in there. So now I'm going to go to forego here in the values. You see it says none. I'm just going to assign values. So for 0, we know that that should be no. And for 1, it should be yes. And click OK. And now I'm just going to run the same thing again to check and make sure. Oh, I'm sorry, I pressed on the wrong button accidentally. It's descriptive statistics and then crosstabs. And you see it's still here. Everything is still here when you run it once. So we'll just click OK and run it again. And this time, you can see it says no is 0 and yes is 1. And I've recoded correctly where all the no's are where they should be and all the yeses are where they should be. And so I can move forward and use that variable using the new forgo R in my linear regression.